When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said, "Son, when you grow up, will you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?" He said, "Will you defeat them, your demons, and all the non-believers, the plans that they have made? Because one day I'll leave you a phantom to lead you in the summer to join the Black Parade." She seems to have an invisible touch. She reaches in and grabs right hold of your heart. I can light the night up with my soul on fire. I can make the sun shine from pure desire. I alone love you. I alone tempt you. I alone love you. Fear is not the end of this. And to love, a God. And to fear, a flame. And to burn, a crown that has a name. We cannot afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. What the heck does all of that mean? Every one of those are six different songs that I just pulled up at random. I shouldn't say pulled up at random. These are six different songs that I have heard and created something about D&D or role playing in general from those songs. Sometimes inspired by those songs and sometimes just directly culling from that song. And the picture, I'll go with that one first. This is a picture that is the Black Dirge. Now, this is not the same The Black Dirge that I played in the Supervillain campaign. That was a character based on the same concept. When I originally created the Black Dirge concept, I was listening to Lady Gaga's Just Dance, but that wasn't where it came from. That was just something that I remember. I found this picture later. I call this the Black Dirge. The actual picture is called Bride of Lucifer. And this is you're only seeing part of it. This is about half of the picture. And it's by an artist from Singapore named Hong Kwong. Anyway, the songs that I just mentioned, The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, Invisible Touch by Genesis, Higher Love by some guy whose name I don't know, I Alone by Live, Selling the Drama by Live, unless their name is Liv. It's the same band for both of them. Invincible, which I believe is Pat Benatar. Those are all on my blog. Actually, the two songs by Live are not, because I just recently found out the names of the songs that they're from. And but the point of this video, now that I've spent 3 minutes confusing the crap out of you and me, is to say that you can find inspiration for D&D and other role-playing games from anywhere. And the number one rule of Dungeon Mastery, which we've already mentioned numerous times, is to ruthlessly rip off good ideas. The second is, this is not a rule, but related to that is to just let things inspire you. You don't have to completely rip off ideas, even if they're really good ideas, if you have a change you want to make, or if the idea itself doesn't work, but it inspires an idea that does, that's good. And that's where all of these songs, I shouldn't say all of these songs come in, but most of them. I literally just took the opening lines from My Chemical Romance's Black Parade and made an entire village in the campaign world of Trocare. Not the sandbox game, but the old one. I did this in late 2007. And I imagined, I mean, if you just listen to it, the guy takes his son to the city to see a marching band. Now, I changed marching band from the kind of band that plays music while marching to a band, as in like a band of brothers, as in like a group of military people, and they're a marching band. So they are on the march. They're getting ready to go on the move, hence a marching band. And his father asks him if he's, willing to fight against demons and non-believers and the plans that they have made. Now, the place where these guys are located, it's a country that is almost defined by the fact that paladins were invented there. And so this whole going out and fighting the non-believers and the demons, that's real. That is exactly what he would be doing. He would go out and fight demons and other people like that. And then at the end he says, "I'll leave you a phantom to lead you in the summer to join the Black Parade." Now I took that the Black Parade would be the multiple groups, all of these bands that go marching off to war from this town. And when he says, "I'll leave you a phantom," rather than what they were doing in the Black Parade song, I took, just like everything else here, I'm twisting it over to something. He literally would leave him a phantom, this ghostly, ethereal advisor slash companion. And I decided that in this town, they actually have a group of, I don't know what number it would be, but let's just say 50 right now. There are 50 of these phantoms. These phantoms are immortal. You cannot harm them, but the people in this town can interact with them. And they sort of bond with them, and that grants them certain powers when they go off and fight demons. And because these phantoms are immortal, even as their human companions die off generation after generation, the phantoms retain all of that knowledge and all of the skill and everything that the humans had before. And so they just keep getting better and better at what they do as time goes on. All of that just from listening to My Chemical Romance's The Black Parade on the radio while driving home from working at the airport. It's a wonderful world that we live in here. Invisible touch is much the same thing. I'm not going to go through, I don't think, and explain all of these. But she seems to have an invisible touch. She reaches in and grabs right hold of your heart. How, I mean, just take that literally. I actually had a dream about this song where I saw, it was more in a futuristic world, and these people had like mutant powers and that, but there was a woman, and she had like gloves that went all the way up to her elbow, and if she pulled off her glove, there was no hand there. It was invisible. And her invisible hand had the power where she could reach through things. And not germane to this discussion, but in the dream, she was a double agent. A sort of reluctant double agent, but a double agent nonetheless, because she's there, she's supposed to be helping one of her fallen comrades, and then she reaches into his chest and crushes his heart. Wonderful. The one that we're going to talk about here is the selling the drama quote from Live. To love a god, to fear a flame, and to burn a crown that has a name. Later on in the song, to burn is a love that has a name, but I like the crown better. I'm trying to make this into a riddle to be placed in the sandbox game for Trocare. There's no reason for it. I just liked the start of that song. I actually really like that song, but doesn't that seem cryptic? Like if you went into a dungeon and you're reading the ancient runes that are carved into a temple wall, and it says, "And to love a god, and to fear a flame, and to burn a crown that has a name." And if you solved this riddle, something awesome would happen in that temple, and you would get, some sort of special treasure or access to some sort of special place. And so I'm trying to put that into the game world. And I'm trying to, the trick, actually, I probably could have turned this into a whole other video on riddles. There's a huge dissonance when you make a riddle for a role-playing game, because when you do riddles and puzzles, you stop challenging characters and start challenging players. I, as a player, love this. I love riddles, I love puzzles, because I, as the player, like to be challenged. But other people who, for example, aren't good at riddles probably don't like it, because there's nothing that... If you're a person who sucks at solving riddles, but your character is a wizard with a 20 intelligence who should be brilliant at solving riddles, there's this dissonance between what you as a player are able to contribute to it and what you as a character should have been able to contribute to it. So, to put this another way, the trick is you want the riddle to be hard enough to challenge players, but you want it to be easy enough that the players do figure it out. In a sandbox game, not as important, because especially if you follow the paradigm where there's multiple players coming in and out of the game, finding someone amongst those players who can solve the riddle is okay. But just keep in mind when you have small groups, like when you're playing with just you and four of your friends, if your four friends can't solve the riddle, that's kind of, deadlock in the game there. You never want to put a puzzle or a riddle as the sole, you don't want that to be the last thing that can happen. It's like until you solve this puzzle or riddle, the game can't go anywhere. So you better start working on it. You always want to have options for players, and this is true no matter what. Even when it comes to a particular fight or a particular plot point, you always want the players to have at least one other option so that they can make a choice. Because choosing, is the player's most basic and essential activity in a role playing game. I've talked about a lot of stuff, which was not really about the music that I wanted to talk about. Not too much of this except until the end bore on the Trocare game, but that's what you get. So, bye bye.